Hello everybody, this is Toy Zaros, and for this special figure showcase and review we're going to be looking at this little guy here. This is 2014, this is Timelines, and it is Fisitron, or is it Fisitron? I'm not too sure. Let me know in the comments how I should be saying it. Anyway, in this video we're going to have a detailed look at him in both of his modes. Help you decide how you want to display him. We're going to have a look at the Generation 1 figure that he is of course based upon, which is Iron Fist. We're going to have a look at the original use of the mold and indeed some of the other uses of the mold as well. So as I just quickly start to move all of these out of the way, I'd like to remind anybody who's not subscribed to the channel, if they'd like to hit that subscribe button for me now please, because it really will help me out. So way back when the Transformers had an official collectors club, they had this brilliant idea, and it was called a subscription service, and this was from the second one, which basically meant that I think it was, I can't remember at which point of the year it was, whether it was right at the very beginning or not, I can't remember. They would give us some pictures and a list of 5, maybe sometimes 6 figures if some of them were tiny, that they were going to be producing very, independently, or shall we say via BotCon, via the collectors club, whichever I suppose sources that it was, to give us these figures which they weren't mass producing and using at retail. Now granted, they did just use molds that were already out there. So basically I think the way to look at these is these are more like what I would class as today's sort of generation selects. Now the toes are out in this because I've had him in Bruticus mode, which I'll explain in a second. So the original use of the mold was Fall of Cybertron Swindle, which you can see right there. So yeah, subscription 2, and in fact all of the ones up until when they stopped, they just did exactly that. They took the molds and they just made characters that I suppose you wouldn't get in normal mainstream. So as I say, for this was a bit of a, I can't even think of the word. It was, I suppose, a bit like now, a bit like we're getting Fisitron now. It's not as if he's a huge, well-known character. So it was just a good opportunity for you to be able to get one. Again, I cannot tell you why they changed his name. I'm presuming it's something to do with copyright, obviously. This is the package that it came with it. There is his tech spec. And if you want to read his bio, you can read it there. No problem whatsoever. Right, so the figure itself is super basic. Now we're going back to, as I say, about a 2011 figure, even though this one came out in 2014. So look, there's lots of hollow gaps. It's super light, and it's as basic as they come. It's crazy to see. I love doing videos like this, going back and seeing how much figures have improved over the years. But it is based on Iron Fist. Now I'm not going to get his huge light forming weapon because of course they haven't even bothered to recreate that here either, so I'm not going to show you. I'm just going to show you, I suppose, the homages. The color scheme is about right. I would say that this is obviously an Earth mode, and maybe this is a Cybertronian mold, but you can see where they've got the homage from with that 100%. He also comes with this weapon, which would fit on top of there. And to be honest, there really isn't that much more to say about the alternate mode because it is as basic as they come. And as I say, this figure for me, especially the original, was all about the combined mode, which I'm going to be showing you as well as part of the others. But as I say, as far as he's concerned in his alternate mode, there he is. So here he is in his robot mode. Apologies, no transformation process on this video. That is because you probably already noticed I've uploaded the separate tutorial. Anyway, right, let's have a look at him then. Once again, this is what I was referring to about how much deluxe figures have improved. I mean, from the side, if I move the arms out of the way, there's literally nothing to this. This is half the weight of any deluxe figure that you do get now. And it's much more basic, which you're going to see again in a bit more detail now. Now we can have a bit more look at the detail on the actual figure in robot mode, because I think the color scheme on this, as I say, just really pops with it. The head itself will turn side to side. I suppose you can say that's looking up and down, but that is obviously for transformation. The shoulders, you can't go out to the side at all. You really just can't. You will snap them on them joints and in them hinges. You can, however, go all the way around, and you can maneuver the shoulder pad wherever you wanted to. The bicep is a ball and socket, which you can see, so you've got flexion and swivel, but you cannot take this out at all. You've got a waist swivel, which is pretty good. It goes around completely unrestricted. The legs will kick forward, they will kick backwards. You've got a really big knee joint, and the toe taps, and that's it. The heel's solid. That's pretty much about it. But again, what I like about this, and what I liked about this particular figure, is it completely invoked the Scramble City nature of the combining mode, which of course originated in the 80s. Then nowadays, with some of the figures that we're getting, they have to go in specific places. So let me show you that very quickly using Swindle. I mentioned in the first part that I've had him in Bruticus mode. So I had these folded out. like so, and I had this, oh, let me just lift this out of the way, and I had this bit folded all the way up, and then it would attach like a foot, like that. So that could now go on either one of his legs, which we've got here. I might do this a bit later on just to show you, and it would attach via that peg. So that was either leg. And I know you're thinking, well, that's not all four, but the clever thing was that you could do as well is you could attach him as an arm. You would then bring this out, which is, as you can see, is a fist. So there we have a right hand, or indeed we have a left hand, and exactly the same can be done for this guy. So you can attach him to the Bruticus or indeed Ruination combine as well, and have him as one of the wreckers. So I really like the fact that it did invoke that part of, you know, the fun side of having a transformer, to be honest. I'm going to keep that there, and then fun enough, let's go for it then. Let's just quickly attach him just to show you how simple it is, and then when we do a quick check of all the other uses of the mold, I'll put it next to him. So that will go there, and there you can see he is, in this particular instance, he is the right leg of Bruticus. I'm going to move him out of the way and get him standing up properly in a second. So very quickly, a quick comparison with his G1 original. He is now towering over him, and they've got borderline the same. That's a joke. I was going to say the same amount of articulation. Obviously, this guy has quite a bit more, funnily enough. Right, let's have a look at him compared to some of today's figures, though. There's an Earthrise Prime who towers over him completely. There is your Legacy, slightly smaller Prime, which he is, yeah, quite a bit smaller, to be honest. A G1 Prime is actually a bit taller. That's a bit of a surprise. I wasn't expecting that, to be honest. And then I suppose the main one, the one that most people have now got, look how much bigger that is. That's crazy. That is your Commander class Prime. So that is them looked at. As I move these out of the way, I'm just going to quickly again clarify what I was saying about the subscription service. As I say, it's like being today's Generation Selects. They did figures like Lift Ticket, Dire Burnout, and again, all the ones that you would class. If you think of in War for Cybertron, they did, what's the word I'm after, you know, they did a Select Cordon and Spin Out, and funnily enough, they did Lift Ticket and stuff like that as well. So because they could, and because they were licensed, they were able to bring them figures that we didn't necessarily have. So other uses quickly of the mold. Here is Ruination, and funnily enough, with him being in Ruination, he is there. He's an arm. Well, the mold use is an arm, shall we say. That's Roadbuster there being used, and an arm, so he could be any one of them as well. I've not opened this guy yet, but you can see this was yet another use. Is this going to show without it reflecting everywhere? He is, funnily enough, he's the right leg there. That's the Generation 2 repaint. And then very quickly, see if I can get him to stand up. I do like this combiner, to be fair. It is, I should perhaps do another review on it, because I did one years and years ago. I just need to get him to stand up. But these were pre-Combiner Wars, and Combiner Wars were flimsy enough as it is. So this guy, let's be honest, is pretty much in the same sort of flimsy situation. So there you go. He could be either leg, he could be a foot, sorry, either leg, either arm, or of course you could have him, I've had him displayed forever in his robot mode. But there you go, guys. That is and was a quick look at the Timelines 2014 Fisitron figure. Let me know what you think in the comments. Take care.